Welcome to Classic Game Room, where I bring you a review for professional players only. This is the QUICKSHOT STRIKEPAD for Sega Saturn. It's not just a gamepad, it's a deluxe gamepad. I love the word deluxe, and I love their claim that they sold 42 million joysticks worldwide. Did they make OEM joysticks or something, or put a comma in the wrong place? Was QUICKSHOT contracted to make the thumb pads for the PlayStation controllers or something? That's a big number. And there's definitely no way they sold 42 million of these things, considering they only sold a couple dozen Sega Saturns in the United States at least. Which is why this caught my eye, because it's so rare to find aftermarket Sega Saturn controllers. You just don't see them out there. Primarily because the Saturn was not a huge commercial success. Also, the Sega Saturn gamepad from Sega is one of the greatest gamepads ever made, so how do you improve upon it? Clearly by making it worse, or at least so thought the folks at QUICKSHOT, who QC passed this plastic piece of junk without actually having played any games with it. This is terrible in pretty much every way. Oh look, there's finger grippy things. You suck. This feels like it was cobbled together from leftover parts from other QUICKSHOT controllers. Just because you put a rapid fire and slow motion button on it doesn't mean that it's worth buying. This is not worth buying. I wish I could go back to the 1990s and slap someone at QUICKSHOT. Here it is next to the almighty Sega Saturn controller. Note the position of the start button on the QUICKSHOT. You'll be pausing a lot of games by accident. But really the biggest problem with this thing is not the design, it's not a terrible looking controller, it's not even the stupid placement of the start button, it's the quality of the actual buttons themselves. They're terrible. Take my word for it, the screen doesn't do it justice. This just doesn't play well. It doesn't feel good. Certainly not compared to the original Saturn controller, which is a thing of beauty. Even the first generation big fat American Sega Saturn controller is far superior to this QUICKSHOT. For professional players only? Really? Thankfully, I am a professional player. Not very good, but I am professional. The sharp edges on the D-pad and the buttons are uncomfortable. The buttons also feel cheap and poorly made. The start button is right where you're going to hit it by accident. I don't even really like the shape of it. If you need another Sega Saturn controller, just go to eBay and buy a real Sega Saturn controller. They don't cost all that much. Avoid the QUICKSHOT STRIKEPAD. You should go on strike if someone gives you one of these. Refuse to play Sega Saturn without a real Sega Saturn controller. And the slow motion feature sucks, but I've got a Classic Game Room shout out and thank you to send to my man Frank from San Leandro, California once again. Thank you, Frank, for the white Sega Saturn used in this review. It's amazing. Oh yeah, thanks for the QUICKSHOT too. Don't mess with perfection, just stick with the real Saturn controller. You can't go wrong.